writing a document about the guilds. The guilds is one of the elements of muamalat. You look at any Islamic society, any Islamic society of the past, and you will find that the trade was never organized in the form of factories. An employee, working class, as you have it today with these big factories, one owner, 14,000 employees, that didn't exist. What you find is the guilds. The Ottomans, they call it sinf, snaf, or ta'if in Egypt. Ta'waif in plural. Ta'if. And you find the Egyptian society before the British arrived, and it was completely, totally organized in the form of guilds. And the Europeans came and they said, that's a monopoly. You know, this is like somebody coming to a marketplace and says, this is a monopoly of trading. Yes, but everybody can come in. Or going to the mosque and say, but this is a monopoly of prayer. Yeah, but everybody can come in. This is because they wanted to make their own shops, and they wanted to do the other religions and the other mischief. That's why they saw it as a monopoly. It wasn't a monopoly. But that's how they presented it. What they really wanted is to get taxes. And when the guilds resisted, after the military defeat, the only organization of society in Egypt was the guilds. And when they resisted to the taxes, and they tried every trick, and they tried to change the sheikhs, because the guilds and the tasawwuf was all linked up. And the people, when they join a trade, they join a brotherhood. And they tried to smash them with trickery, and they couldn't. And finally they had to do it by laws. And they resisted. And when they resisted, they wiped them out. Wiped them out completely. And what was the key issue? They didn't want to pay taxes to the new centralized government. And you know what the taxes were for? To pay Bearing Bank, the British banks. So they said Evelyn Baring, Lord Cromer, to Egypt to put it right, to get the debt back. So he destroys the guilds. And then he appoints Muhammad Abdu as the chief mufti of Egypt, who then became the father of Ikhwan al-Muslimin, Jamaat al-Islamiyya, and all the modernist Islam today, who was a Freemason, whose first fatwa was to say the riba from the post office, which was the first bank in Britain, in Egypt, is halal. It's like kirat. That's why Sheikh Elish, when he was still an old gentleman in Al-Azhar, the head of the Maliki method, when Al-Azhar was still some decent place, a place of learning, not like today. In those days, he was still an old gentleman. He stood up and he hit Abdul the head. You kafir, get out of here. Sheikh Elish. He was a great man. And after that, nothing. What came after was a disaster. But the guilds disappeared. They're supported by law. And why would they want to destroy the guilds when they represent the society itself? Because they were intertwined with government. They were government. They were making the decisions. They were keeping the codes of trading and the standards of quality. And they represented society itself. And there were Sufis, and the heads of the guilds. Often there were sheikhs of tariqah. Can you imagine? So at the essence of the trade, there was the highest of all affairs, which was seeking knowledge of Allah. And they couldn't take these, so they had to destroy it. The guilds did not die by natural causes, they were murdered in history. So you can look at society today and you can see the disaster there is. But you can also look at the society and look for the guilds, and you will find them. You will find them, and you will make them. And if you look for kirat in society where there is none left, you will look into it, and it will form for you. It will come together. The tendency will come together. And you look for Suqs in Islam, not for supermarkets and carrefours, because in Islam you cannot privatize the marketplaces. The marketplaces are a public institution, and to privatize them is part of the corruption of the land of today. But having said that, if you look into society, you look for it, you will find it. It will gather, it will come together, and it will form, because you are observing. Isn't that extraordinary? Just like we look into society and look for the dinar, and we found it. All the elements gathered together from across the world. They came together to make these dinars. Because we look into it. If you realize, if you come to understand the extraordinary power that you have within yourself, would you remain hypnotized by that way of solid representation of society that this culture provides? This prison of lies that try to fix around you, exactly like a prison. It comes around you and solidifies reality, saying nothing can change. Or in fine, it's not solid, but as Heisenberg discovered, it's fluid. It's a tendency. Because when you recognize that, then you can look at the bars of the prison and you can make them melt down and truly become free. And you become free because the next time you look into the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will not be alien to you, but there will be a fresh air, a challenge that indicates your path to wisdom. However difficult it may be, and precisely the more difficult it becomes the very sign that you have to move forward. Where the benefit is precisely there. And you move forward and forward and forward, and there is no end to this. There's a task much bigger than we can handle. So we abandon handling, and we just follow. The abandonment of the management of the affairs, the WAKIL. You abandon yourself to him, and then you find yourself free. But to aspire for more. In these 4 days that we have, aspire for more. Do this is the moment to do the big thing. Everything, your whole life has been cooking for this moment, for you to do this, for this very moment, the time that you have. Now is your time to say, now I'm going to do it. This is my time. Because you don't have any other. Because the past is gone. Because the future is yet to come. And you don't know which one is going to come. But you know what you have here, right now. This opportunity you have right now to do something extraordinary. But look with the right eye. Discover your enormous strength. Desire what Allah wants. And follow it. Trust in Him. Trust. Trust that He's good to you. Trust that He is going to be good for you. That there is goodness in what He does. Because if you trust in His goodness and you are generous, Allah will make it easy. And that's the way to do things. You put in your heart a total devotion, love for Him, together with fear of Him, and you move forward with it. And the things that you don't see, then you force yourself to see it. And if you look for the dinar, you will find the dinar. And if you look for the suq, you will find the suqs. And if you look for the sultaniyyah, you will find the sultaniyyah. And if you look for the khalifate, you will find the khalifate. It's all there. It only needs the observer. And that's the eye and the sight and the wisdom and the light and the enlightenment that is seeked in the gathering by naming Him, by remembering Him, by wherever you look, the name of Allah. I want to bring the gold coin everywhere in the people of Africa. Replace this idiotic dollar that is killing people. It's not there. But I'm going to look for it. Look for the things you want. Look for them. And you will find them. Look for Allah and the wisdom and the greatness and the easiness and your path towards Him, and you will find it. Look for the bad things and you will find them. But if you discover this is within you, you can put hope back to you. It was the lack of hope that kept you locked in. But it's hope that it will bring you back to Him. And move forward. Move forward. And more rapidly every day. You have not arrived anywhere. But this is a path. So you keep moving. Challenge yourself further. If you want more wisdom of things, put yourself into something far beyond what you can read, so that you can see. Because ultimately, your success is not in what the things happen, but your success is that you become closer to Him, that you acquire wisdom of Him, that you can take knowledge of Him. And if you do that, you have succeeded. And there is nothing in this world, nothing in this world, nothing of this world that matters, that compares, that comes close to acquiring knowledge of Him. 1,000 dunyas put together before one drop of knowledge of Him is still higher. Knowledge of Him, love of Him, fear of Him. Take that with you. Bow your head to Him. Pray, submit to Him. For this is our deen. Not to do what I can, but to submit to Him. Submit. What you think you can't submit to. So that more wisdom will come to you. Challenge yourself more than you have ever done before. And take into account that the entire life that you have lived so far, it all comes as a culmination in this very moment. That this is your time. So don't look in what you haven't done. Don't look in what mistakes you have made. Neither what successes you have made. But some are all that it has been. And give it to Him. And promise that in whatever is left of you, you will submit to Him, and you will serve Him more than you have ever done before. And you do that every day of your life, because that is taqwa. But you do it sincerely, and you will see the wonders. As Shaykh Dargawi said, you follow my path, and something extraordinary will happen. And he came from Sayyidi Ali Jamal, whose knowledge of Allah was knowledge of man. And you look into that book, and when you think that you know anything about yourself, you have to start all over again. But this is the knowledge, and you acquire it going out and struggling for stability. That's the fast way. So do it while you still have time. Because we don't know how long this thing is going to last. But while we are here, we promise to Him that we will give everything that we have. And that's what matters. That's all this is about. Just to keep more, a little bit more than we ever did before. And keep the company of the people, for there is wisdom in the company. Keep the company of the people who remind you about Allah. So when you gather and you mention the name of Allah, that's good for you. This is strengthening, is your vitamins. And avoid the company of the people who do the opposite to you. Avoid it. Truly avoid it. Shaykh Dargawi was ruthless about it. Just don't waste time, he said. Don't waste time with these people. They have no benefit for you. But keep and seek the company of those. You go to them only just to remind them, to do dawah to them. Just go in and out. Keep the company of the people, so that with that you gain the strength. And keep the company of the people of Allah. For it is with the Muslims that we are going to succeed in this. And with the Kafirs, we have nothing with the Kafirs except to teach them, that's all. And if we follow all this, benefit will surely come in. And courage will increase in your heart, that it will lead you a little bit farther. And that's where the benefit is. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.